Welcome to Podcast on Infinite Earths, an unofficial DC Studios podcast. I'm your host, Tyson.
And I'm your host, Porter.
And we're both writers, editors, and part-time filmmakers who love superheroes. Welcome to our show. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be breaking down episodes 3 and 4 of the first season of Peacemaker. We just got done watching them. Porter.
Yeah, those first two episodes are definitely more just getting the plot moving, introducing characters at rapid fire, getting you familiar with the world and the stakes. These next two kind of feel like they decide to... Well, that's not true. Episode 3 definitely feels like a plot moving forward kind of episode. Episode 4 spends a lot of time on characters and their inner wants and needs, where I kind of feel like the fourth episode, as far as the Butterfly Project, nothing happens until like the last 5 seconds. There are zero developments.
Right. It's really just like the aftermath of episode 3.
Yeah.
And then, the big development right at the end. I think one of the interesting aspects about these two episodes specifically, and this is a bit of a recurring theme, but it's both Peacemaker and Adebayo's struggle with killing people. Peacemaker is pretty comfortable killing people, but he's just told blindly to, kill these children, a part of this family, and he still doesn't know much about the project, and he's starting to kind of have a change, as we've seen from these last couple episodes, is he feels bad about some of the things that he does, and he doesn't love to just blindly follow orders anymore. He feels like that's the wrong way to do things.
Yeah, he definitely feels like that's how his dad treated him, right? Was blindly following orders. But anyway, you were about to say something.
So it's just kind of a struggle for him, and Adebayo, having never killed anybody, faces a similar struggle just from a completely different place. And it's interesting because according to Myrn, people need to die, right? Things need to move forward. You need to be supporting the cause in this sense. And I love that line where he's just gosh dang it, Waller sent us a killer that can't kill.
Yeah, seriously. And then I love the bit where Vigilante just pulls up out of nowhere to snipe them. It just does it so efficiently.
He's
and
humming.
smooth. Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
But yeah, this is kind of a fun, episode 3 just jumps right into the conflict, right? They're kind of all right, we need to kill this person. And I love this moment that they have getting everything prepped and then getting on this food truck sort of bus that they drive in.
I think it was a electricity company.
Okay, right on.
Truck. Yeah.
Where Peacemaker is kind of making a big deal about not having the dove of peace on his gun. And every time I draw it, it looks like a ghost. He's trying to draw it and it just doesn't look right. But it's a great little bit for him to kind of channel his inner angst through, right? Is, the issue being the dove of peace, that it's not proper to kill somebody without that. When in reality, it's more of an emotional struggle that he's having.
Yeah.
Peacemaker is just the worst, but also strangely wholesome. There were a few moments that kind of just really nailed this in for me. There was the one where Adebayo's scrolling through pictures on the iPad as they're going through the presentation, and you get the sexy pic from her wife, and Peacemaker is having just the most stupid bro reaction to that.
Totally.
Where he's just blown away that Adebayo has a wife, and is asking about scissoring and stuff. He's just being such a jerk about it and can't let it go.
Yeah. I did like that, how they use that as a way to... It's funny. The scene's funny, but they kind of sneak in a bit of development on their relationship, because we don't see her wife
actually leave.
Yeah, we don't see them, or we don't see her in these 2 episodes at all.
Mm-mm.
And it was a good way to just kind of give us a kind of a catch up. She says oh yeah, we're trying to figure out stuff while we're separated, and
right, how to move away for her own safety. We see her ignore the call towards the end of episode 4, right? Clearly there's strife there, which kind of leads into her emotional struggle around this, right? I'm not built for this job.
Totally.
Is what she said. And then that great moment at the bar where he almost has a bit of a heart-to-heart with Harcourt. just like she kind of breaks down what's in his file. She knows kind of about his struggle and his past, and he just has like a heavy reaction to that of just like, okay, thanks. And she's surprised by that, right? It seems like too
Yeah.
sincere for him. She's like, is that all? He's like, no, you look stellar. Your tits look stellar in that shirt.
Yeah, he just like compliment. I don't know. He just totally turns it into like like you roll your eyes and yeah.
Yeah. Which, like, once again, just jerk plus wholesome. Like, he's just the worst, but you can see he's trying.
Yeah. Yeah, and kind of like Adebayo says later in the fourth episode, she's like, yeah, he has like a really good heart and he wants to see the good. In this case, he's talking about his dad, but we get introduced to a new character in Judo Master in these episodes, and he's like the bodyguard for the senator and his family, which they are sent to kill because they are butterflies. And he's like a little ninja guy, and he totally kicks the crap out of Peacemaker and Vigilante.
And hardcore. Like, he
Yeah.
like, he absolutely destroys them all. It's not even close. I love all the jokes Peacemaker keeps making about this guy being small, and he consistently struggles when fighting
I
him.
know, right? He's totally just trying to save face, but it comes across as just, oh, geez. But, but yeah, like with after the fight, the other bodyguard, who we don't really get a name for, he doesn't stick around long. He finds Hardcore on the ground, and Adebayo finds them, and this is kind of when we get like that struggle of like her killing him,
Hmm.
and he's pleading a lot for her to not kill him, and seems like she's not going to, but then Hardcore just kills the bodyguard to get it over with, and her reasoning is like, oh, like he saw us, he had to die, you should have made it quick instead of giving him like a terrible 30 seconds of him having to plead for his life. And it really sticks with her, right? Like she says that she's never shot at anyone, let alone killed someone.
Right. You can see it very clearly has an effect on her. And honestly, in that situation, I can very much see where both of them are coming from. Right. The guard could very clearly compromise their operation. Harcourt is just being efficient, and Adebayo has a heart, right? She like can't imagine killing this guy who's telling her that he has a wife and 3 children, that he's like, I didn't see anything, right? Like, please just he can see very clearly what's gonna
Right.
happen.
Yeah.
But the fighting in this whole mansion sequence, from, Judo Master finding them and them just like getting absolutely whooped, to like them trying to like get their way into the building and like find out where Peacemaker is. And holy cow, this bit with Peacemaker and Vigilante getting tortured. In reality,
Really, it's just Vigilante.
it's just
Yeah.
Vigilante. Yeah, like Peacemaker talking all big, right? Like, just like, I don't care how much you hurt me. And he's like just shocking the heck out of Vigilante.
Seriously. Yeah, it comes into play later with their relationship, but yeah, then the rest of the team blows up and breaks into the basement of the mansion, and they fight, and Judo Master almost gets away, but then Economos hits him with a car and knocks him out. So he's subdued for now. And then
And it's kind of a fun arc for Economos, because he keeps playing that up in episode 4 as well. But like he is elated by the fact that he's able to contribute
So proud.
in like a physical way, right? Typically he's just the computer guy that everybody like kind of hates on, but yeah, like yelling at Judo Master, who's like knocked out on the ground, and just being like, "You don't mess with me, bro." He's like
Yeah.
dancing.
Seriously, he is like way too happy about something that did not take a lot of effort.
No.
But yeah, then I think like the big reveal at the end of the episode is that a butterfly like crawls out of the senator's skull, which shows like, oh, okay, they're like a parasite almost that can control humans. Adds quite a good bit of sci-fi to this whole thing.
Totally. It's a great reveal, because up until this point, we are very much in Peacemaker's camp, where we don't know what butterflies are, right? And you can finally see that, oh, it's literally a butterfly, sort of alien creature that, yeah. It's kind of a disgusting scene. Well played on their part, but yeah, crawling out of like this face that's taken a shotgun shell at close range. It's kind of a crazy setup.
Yeah, like, and then in episode 4, we end up seeing that Peacemaker kept the butterfly in a jar, so we'll see what happens with that. But he tells the team that he killed it. So he's maybe going to try and figure out what it is on his part, right? But
Yeah, it's clear there's not an incredible amount of trust around this team. Everybody kind of has their few little secrets. They're still not at that point where they're working together effectively. I love these little side moments that we get where everybody will make like slights towards Amanda Waller, right? There's kind of a lot of hate for her amongst the crew. She's
right.
heartless. She's like, kind of a monster. And they always kind of pan over to like, to Adebayo, who like, is just afraid to tell them like who she really is.
Totally. These 2 episodes, we get a lot more out of Myrn because he kind of has a little talk with Economos when they setting up the camera, and he's like, I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to grow as a person. I'm trying to, show my feelings better or talk about my feelings, right?
Mm.
And at the end of the 4th episode, we find out that he is a butterfly. And that makes you wonder, like, are they just trying to live their lives like normal? Like, are they trying to take over the world at all? Or are they just trying to be peaceful? Kind of like in Marvel's, like Captain Marvel, where the Skrulls are on Earth and they're not necessarily trying to like take over the world. They're just kind of like, we're just looking for a place to live.
Right. Well, and it kind of begs the question, like, why is Myrn like a part of this task force that's killing the butterflies? Because he's doing a good job at it, right? Like he's not sabotaging the operation per se. It's a very interesting setup because up until this point, I kind of saw Myrn as sort of like a Captain Holt character from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, totally.
Where he's just like a very crisp leader who's, maybe not the most emotive, but like he keeps things together and he's like a very like just efficient person. But you can kind of see that, maybe part of that personality comes with this like lack of emotion when it comes to the butterflies, because we see Goff talk about that when he's torturing Vigilante. He talks about humans and how they're emotional creatures and the only way to really get to them is to hurt the ones they love.
Right. It seems like that's what you would imagine, like an alien invasion person to talk like.
Totally.
And Myrn being a butterfly kind of recontextualizes everything and makes you go, okay, so what actually? And it helps that in episode 4, like Judo Master breaks out for a second. He decides to fight Peacemaker and he tells Peacemaker, like, the butterflies aren't what you think. They're, and then he gets shot by Adebayo, who is like a big thing for her. And
right.
He's still alive. And she's like really broken up about it. And she kind of has that heart to heart with Harcourt about like, yeah, that's a good thing that it hurts. And that's where we get, like, you were talking about a slight against Amanda Waller, where she's like, yeah, it's good that it hurts because otherwise you end up like Amanda Waller where human life means nothing. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. And the great thing about that is it completely adds to the mystery, right? Because now you're not sure who's on the right side of things. It's clear that Judo Master knows more about butterflies than Peacemaker does. And though we now figured out what exactly a butterfly is, it kind of makes you wonder, like, whose side is the right side and which side, like, is it best to be rooting for, right?
For sure. And I love that they do have that mystery. It's not like a straightforward, like, we have to kill the aliens. I like that they add in a layer of, well, why are the aliens here, right? Let's take a second. And I
totally. And the fact that Myrn is an alien just makes that so much more complex.
Totally. But at the beginning of the 4th episode, Peacemaker and Vigilante go to his dad's house where he finds out that he's been thrown in prison, which starts a whole thing. But they kind of talk about Vigilante getting tortured in the car, and they kind of have like a moment where they're like, oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, right? And you could see him being friends, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Or becoming closer friends, and
because
he
up
doesn't
until
have
this
his mask
point,
on.
it's kind of just been Peacemaker being annoyed with Vigilante.
Totally.
But yeah, like that totally leads for some character development between those two. And you make a great point about episode 4 being very like relationship focused, and like there's a lot of conversations that people have that kind of build their place in this world.
Well, yeah, like literally Vigilante goes to the prison with Peacemaker, talks to Adebayo, and gets the idea to kill Peacemaker's dad, gets in prison, attempts his like to kill Peacemaker's dad and then gets out, like all in the same episode, right? Like that's the kind of thing you would imagine happens over the course of a couple episodes, but they just do it and it works great. And he gets out and he is like strangely like sad about it. Like he's like, I think I might have just made things worse. Like you could tell that he's just winging it like everyone else. And it was kind of cool to see that vulnerable side.
Totally. Totally. Because up until this point, he's been a very almost one dimensional character where he's just kind of goofy and
Yeah, the
comedic relief.
goofball, totally.
And it's great. It works well. But yeah, you get to see him like have an emotion.
But yeah, like with Peacemaker's dad, he's now, I guess like the biggest story development of the episode would be that his dad now knows that he was framed by Peacemaker. So he's like, I'm going to talk to the detective. We don't see the detectives yet, but we know that he's going to talk to them and rat them out. So I think that's probably the biggest like story beat that happens in this episode.
Right.
Even like Adebayo and like you were talking about Harcourt talk to Peacemaker and like, dude, your dad is not a good person. And he just refuses to believe that at this point in time.
Yeah, there's kind of this great buildup where like they talk about Peacemaker wanting to be loved, and you know he's got a big heart. He needs like some place to put all that, and he's put a lot of that stock into his dad, which at the end of this episode is insane to me because you see the way his dad talks to him, right? Talking about
Oh, yeah.
the day he was born, I should have slit your throat. I loved your brother, unlike you, right? Just this blob that I've never felt anything for. Like
He's a terrible person.
he's a terrible person. Like it's not even like talking to like an enemy, like to your own son. It's really brutal kind of watching that conversation, and Peacemaker still is looking to defend his father after that.
Yeah, I feel like it hits even harder when I feel like my favorite part of these two episodes is the bit where you get House of Pain playing and Peacemaker's jamming out in his trailer, and you kind of get the montage of like everyone having their deep moments.
Yeah.
And Peacemaker gets flashbacks to him as a kid and stuff that he was doing with his dad that was like super messed up. And you also get another, flashback to him killing Rick Flag Jr. And it hits home and it really highlights the struggle that he's going through.
Totally. Like we finally get a glimpse into what his childhood is like. We've kind of heard bits and pieces, but we're like getting a visual representation, and it's bad. Like it is really like such a terrible way for a kid to grow up. And then of course that line that just lives rent free in his head, right? Peacemaker, what a joke.
Yeah, seriously.
I so love the soundtrack that they picked for Peacemaker, making him like obsessed with this like early 2000s glam rock.
Well, I would argue like, yes, you're right. But a lot of 80s hair bands too.
And totally.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's all in that realm of just like really just like just kind of big emotions played out through guitar solos. Like it's
Totally.
I think it's just the perfect way for Peacemaker to like connect with like kind of this more human side of him, right? Is to like do big drum solos in the air and just really feel it through the music. You made a great mention about James Gunn kind of having a jukebox in his movies, and Peacemaker absolutely lives up to that.
Yeah, it's such a highlight of the show. Like, as per usual, James Gunn knows when and where to put these songs and how to place them in a way that it accentuates and amplifies what's happening on screen. It's not like the only cool thing about the scene is the music. Like, it all just works in tandem.
Absolutely. Consistently blown away by how well he makes that work.
Totally. One thing I liked was after they leave Peacemaker's dad's house, the neighbor pulls up and kind of makes some snide comments about like how Batman's a real superhero. He doesn't kill people. And then Peacemaker kind of brings up that question of, well, if Batman would kill his villains, they wouldn't be able to do any more harm. So it brings up that conversation of should superheroes kill right? And that's, I know it's been beaten to death in like so much superhero media, but I still think it's an interesting conversation because I feel like the big superheroes that try to go out of their way to not kill people are like Batman and Spider-Man, but you get people like the Hulk where they kill a lot of people, right? Or you get, I mean, not so much directly, but like Wonder Woman kills a lot of people, right? They
Right.
don't make like a point about it, but she does. Most superheroes kill people. It's kind of the ones that make a big deal out of it, like Spider-Man and Batman, that people kind of point to and go like, "Oh, that's what a superhero should do." But
He makes it well, and like it almost seems like just a desperate attempt to like win the argument. But he brings up a very valid point. But like, how many people is Batman indirectly killed by like not taking out these villains and just sending them to prison?
totally.
It's small, but I love when they make mentions to like the big superheroes in these like kind of side
Yeah.
superhero stories.
And the little known characters like Matter Eating Lad.
Matter Eater Lad, some crazy, just like never heard of kind of DC characters that they'll just like throw in there that Peacemaker has apparently worked with. It's so fun.
It's so funny.
I love the conversations that they have in this because more often than not, they'll kind of like devolve into just like a pedantic war.
Totally. Like a screaming match almost.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's about just the dumbest things that I find it's so funny. The first one we get is the argument about Berenstain Bears versus Berenstain Bears.
Totally.
Such a small thing that doesn't matter, and you get Mern trying to shut down the conversation and then adding his opinion to it.
Right. Literally.
We get that conversation with Peacemaker and Vigilante where Vigilante uses the phrase "if it walks like a duck," which I might have heard once before.
Yeah.
It's not very well known.
It's kind of one of those, there's some sayings that I'm just like, what does that even mean? Like, I understand what you were implying by it, but I don't know
It's like,
what
where does that come from?
Yeah, exactly.
And Peacemaker is obviously confused by it. And then the whole point of the conversation is lost because then they just devolve into arguing, why would a duck wear like a human costume, right? Like, it's just these ridiculous things that
Totally.
absolutely do not matter.
Yeah,
It's a great comedic bit that they keep playing over and over, and it hits.
it does. It's so witty, and I'm so excited for season 2 because now we get the addition of characters like Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, and Maxwell Lord. It's exciting. You know, we get more characters to riff off of like this. It'll be a good time.
Totally. Totally. Um, I introduced a friend recently to the new Superman movie. She has actually never seen any of them.
Oh, really? What'd you
s-
think for being like someone that knows like not a lot about?
She was worried going into it. She's like,
Yeah.
I probably should have seen some of the other ones. I feel like I won't. And like we've talked about, like it was very easily accessible. She loved it. She really enjoyed how much fun she had with that. Great story, fun visuals. She actually like called some of the bit like when uh when they were like figuring out his parents' message, she like leaned over to me and she was like, "Oh, so there's probably gonna be more about how he was like supposed to take over the world or something." I was like, "How did you call that? Like, that's crazy." Anyways,
That's so fun though. I've heard so many people liking it, and yeah, I know people that, like you've said, haven't seen other Superman movies that are going out to see this, which makes me really happy.
totally, totally. It's such a fun bit. And it's a great rewatch. Once again, if y'all haven't seen it, it is definitely worth a watch.
Totally.
A small side note to that movie, um, I read an article that apparently dog adoptions are kind of through the roof after
No
this
way.
movie. Yeah, there's so much like love and adoration for just like the scruffy ruffian that is Crypto that people are kind of like moved enough to like get their own.
Wow, that is so fun.
It's such like a simple but really fun positive impact.
Totally.
Yeah, I love that from that movie. And they actually just released quite recently the new trailer for season 2 of Peacemaker.
Yeah, there's a lot in it. I think the big one is a parallel universe, which, and we're going to try not to spoil stuff for season 1 as far as like where the characters look like they're at now,
Right.
in case this is your first time watching through. But yeah, I think the big thing was the parallel universes are going to get introduced in season 2, which is pretty huge.
It's kind of crazy. That's definitely a big leap for DC to be leaning into that, because that's kind of where they ended the dregs of the last universe, was introducing the multiverse.
Totally.
But honestly, from what it looks like, this seems like kind of a fun way to approach the different relationships that they have going on through like the scope of a different reality, right? That there are like different factors at play. I think they have some really interesting characters, and I'm excited to see, from what it seemed like in the trailer, how those come into play.
Yeah, it feels like they're going to use it as a story tool, right? Instead of like a gimmick,
Yeah,
kind of like Peacemaker has messed up so much in this universe that he's going to go to another universe where hopefully he can do better.
right.
And so that'll be cool. Yeah.
Totally. And I think it's fun that we get, the official Rick Flag. He's totally, bugged about his son. Bugged is too soft a word. he is livid, right? Like, he is so upset that Peacemaker took out his son. We get that line where he's just like, my son is a better man than you'll ever be, right?
Right.
We get an official look at Argus, which is fun.
Yeah, that'll be cool. It looks like they're really expanding the world on this one, and they'll probably, well, we know that they're going to be integrating it into the Superman movie a lot more as well, which will be exciting.
Totally. Yeah, totally looking forward to that.
So yeah, that's all for today's episode. Next week we'll be covering episodes 5 and 6 of Peacemaker. We hope you guys tune in. Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll catch you later.
See you guys.